To other news now, the Ontario Science Centre is shutting down immediately over concerns that the building's roof could collapse.
This will allow Ontario Science Centre staff the time needed to safely move exhibits and pivot programming and operations from the building by the fall of this year.
So here's the issue. The province says the lightweight concrete used on the Science Centre's roof prompted the risk of collapse. An engineering report shows the roof panels from the centre's buildings are in a distressed condition. Fixing the museum will cost between $22 and $40 million, according to officials. The sudden closure comes after the government's controversial announcement last year to move the Science Centre to Ontario Place away from its current neighborhood in Don Mills. Well, my next guest hopes to fight today's closure of the Science Centre. Floyd Ruskin is the co-chair of the advocacy group Save Ontario Science Centre. He joins us tonight from Toronto. Thanks for taking the time.
You're very welcome, Trevor. Thank you.
Well, so when you heard about this snap decision to close the Science Centre due to these structural issues, what was your reaction?
Well, we were informed that that there were fences going up around the Science Centre this morning by an employee on his way to work. And we checked it out and found that the government has presented a second structural report that identifies a very small portion of the roof as being critical, where 90% of the roof is in fine shape.
So you would like to see repairs happen and then for the Science Centre to reopen, is that correct?
100%. You know what? Our goal is to renew, restore, and reinvest in the Science Centre. One thing that this government has done, and actually, to be fair to the previous Liberal government, is that they didn't pay their maintenance bills. They deferred maintenance, and this is what happens when you do it. Unfortunately, this government, the Ford government, has decided to use that to force an artificial crisis so they can move the Science Centre to Ontario Place for the terms of their lease, their 95-year lease with Therm Mega Spa.
Mm-hmm. So, just for folks watching, because of course it's a national show, tell me what the Science Centre means for the community, for this province.
100%. The Ontario Science Centre was a centennial project to mark Canada's 100th birthday by then Premier John Robarts. And it was one of the first three interactive and immersive science experiences in the world. Today, there's well over 3,000 that actually copy our Ontario Science Centre. It is world-renowned, built here in Ontario and built here in Canada with craftspeople that design, create, and also sell exhibits around the world. That will not happen in a new Science Centre. It is not part of the Ford government plan.
If, as the government says, there are these structural issues with the building, that the building is aging, why not move it to Ontario Place and close it down now for these safety reasons?
Well, I'll give you an example. The Royal Ontario Museum is well over 100 years old. They're undergoing a $350 million renovation, but they're not closing. What they're doing is shifting exhibits around till they could do the necessary repairs and renovations while they do it. So keeping their exhibits and keeping that world-class operation going while they're doing renovations. But that's not the plan of the government. They have to fulfill their lease to foreign-owned Therm Spa, and they intend to do that. There's no reason right now to close the Science Centre.
What is the loss that you worry to the community if the Science Centre does remain closed?
Well, the first thing that happens is that employees are going to lose their jobs. They're very uncertain. They had a meeting today. They're not allowed to discuss it. Most Ontario employees have to sign a non-disclosure or are prohibited from sharing information. So not really sure about the effect on employees. But it's not only employees, it's employees' families. But there's also the nearby communities of Thorncliffe, Flemington, Don Mills, Leaside, where kids walk there. Then there's there's summer camp that's now going to be closed. The students who look for their summer jobs at there will no longer have them. They have to look for other employment for the summer. At the last minute, by the way, at the last minute. You might probably maybe get a job, you know, selling hot dogs at the X. But it doesn't suit anybody.
Right.
Nobody was consulted, not the community, not the not GTA school boards, not the city of Toronto. Nobody was consulted except the Ford government.
Floyd, I got to let you run, but I do want to ask you your direct message to Premier Ford tonight on this.
You know, very quickly, it's renew, restore, and reinvest in the Ontario Science Centre. Keep it as a part of the fabric of the Flemington community, along with the Aga Khan Museum and the Japanese Cultural Center. Not everything has to be downtown, and not everything is a Ferris wheel. The Science Center is an interactive, immersive science experience that teaches kids while having fun.
Okay, we'll see what happens on this one. Floyd, appreciate your time tonight. That is Floyd Ruskin, who is the co-chair of the advocacy group Save Ontario's Science Centre.